Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'll give it a second or so for a few more people to join as I start the meeting. Thank you all for making the time. So we should be recording, transcript started, fab. Okay, welcome to this week's Hydrogen Bytes session, which is from the Hydrogen Energy Association. This is our opportunity to showcase our member opportunities and member projects. And today we're joined by SLR Consulting, who will be talking about their strategic partnership with Waterise. So in a second, I'll hand over to Greg and Sue from SLR Consulting. But briefly, I'll just give a short overview of the HEA, as this is a public forum, so we may have some people joining who are less familiar with our activities. So these are our members. Our members span across the whole hydrogen value chain, from low carbon hydrogen and its derivatives, production of hydrogen in that framing, hydrogen transportation and storage, hydrogen end use cases, including transportation, materials, components, testing and instrumentation. We're pleased to have a strong sector support in this area. Various other services, consulting services, legal advisory, etc. And also a strong backing from academic consortiums and universities across the UK. So that is a short introduction on the HEA, and I'll now stop sharing my slides and pass over to Greg to share his slides, and we really look forward to hearing your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. So Greg and I are going to go through our strategic solutions for hydrogen projects. Greg, do you want to go to the next slide, please? And also provide an introduction to the Waterise partnership. We'll sort of move through this quite quickly as we've only got 30 minutes, and it'd be great to leave some time at the end for questions. And then the slides will be shared after the webinar. Greg, would you like to move on, please? So in terms of introductions, I'm Sue Swain. I'm Global Head of Sales Excellence at SLR Consulting. But I'm here on the webinar today in my capacity as the lead for the Waterise partnership, and to give you more of an introduction into Waterise. Greg, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Altrier. I'm a technical director at SLR Consulting and our lead for hydrogen and derivatives in the European region. I'm here joining Sue today, and I'll talk about our capability in the hydrogen sector and talk through some case studies that we've prepared to demonstrate our experience.
Great, thank you, Greg. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So in terms of a brief introduction to SLR, for those of you who haven't worked with us, we are pure play sustainability and environmental consultants. As you'll see from the slide, we've got a global footprint and we work across all sectors, both doing private sector, public sector work. What makes SLR different is that we've got the combination of being able to work at the strategy level and providing that very strategic advice, but then we've also got the technical disciplines and the boots on the ground that can come in and actually implement that strategy. So we can advise clients strategically in terms of their direction of travel and what's really important to the business, but then we can actually follow that through with that technical delivery. And also having that technical delivery obviously helps inform, so we can create strategies that can be implemented. But that's what makes SLR quite different from a number of other environmental and engineering consultancies. Next slide, please, Greg. I think I'll hand over to Greg now to talk through hydrogen solutions, and then I'll come back to provide an update on the Waterise partnership. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. Yeah, so just to develop on what Sue has explained there about our be able to combine our advisory and technical consultancy services. At SLR, we pride ourselves on confidently being able to claim that we offer our clients the fastest way to achieving financial investment decisions and bankable projects. So by combining that strategic advisory, engineering design, planning and consenting services alongside all those required technical, environmental and social assessment disciplines, we're able to support developers, network operators and prospective hydrogen users right across that hydrogen value chain with developing, trialling, consenting, financing, delivering hydrogen projects. It's, something that makes us unique compared to competitors that might do one of those aspects or some of those aspects, but not all three. The benefits to our clients from having such an integrated team enable us to provide coordinated and streamlined approaches to engineering, consenting and bid development, for example. So because of our understanding of bid scoring or required engineering consenting options, we can tailor the program and scope of works for our clients to obtain outputs that are required, minimize development expenditure to align with project stage gates and investment milestones, rather than being based on prescribed standard methodologies, which can be guilty of not being aligned with each other. So an example of this is in relation to a pre-front-end engineering design for a project, which might typically just look at the kind of core process, whereas for planning, permission, application, you need to know a bit more than that. You need to know, how tall things are going to be, what's it going to look like, what's the drainage like. So our consenting teams and our engineering teams liaise with each other. So if we're doing early stage engineering design for a project that's intended to inform a planning permission application, the scope can be informed to ensure that the design is going to produce what's needed, and you don't get left having done a load of design work and then finding out it's not sufficient. Typically, we can resource all required technical assessments and surveys in-house, or at least the very vast majority of them. This reduces interfaces for our clients, resulting in greater consistency, quality, efficiency, and accountability. So, rather than having to deal with multiple consultants, they're all pointing the fingers at each other. Because we can be at like one-stop shop, we take ownership, and there's no squabbling. Our capability is proven on large-scale, complex projects and local-scale projects. Also, as Sue explained, we have 4,500 staff across the globe, but within the UK, we've got 20 odd offices, so we provide that local service and local expertise. So as you can see from this graphic, SLR can follow projects through from origination to feasibility, concept development, early stage engineering, delivery and operational compliance. So again, we can combine that strategic advisory with our technical expertise to follow projects through from start to finish, and continue to throughout that operational lifetime and ultimately decommissioning. Alternatively, clients can bring us in for discrete packages to add value where they have gaps in capacity or capability. I won't dwell too much on this and talk through all our services, which are even more extensive than described in this graphic, but our key strengths lie in that value chain creation and bid development aspect that's combined with engineering, owner's engineer or consenting, and environmental assessments, be that for planning permission, environmental permits, hazardous substance consents or COMA. We pride ourselves on being a market maker within the hydrogen sector derivatives. So that strength in the value chain creation aspect is again something that makes us unique. So prepared a number of case studies today to demonstrate our capability. They illustrate the breadth of our experience across a range of scale of UK-based projects, aspects of the hydrogen value chain. Our capability reaches far beyond this and covers the entire globe. So if you do want to know more about what we offer, and where we offer it, then do reach out to Sue and I, and we'll be happy to help. So the first case study is support we are providing for another HEA member, Statkraft, who are developing a 400 megawatt electrolytic hydrogen to green ammonia production facility on the site of the former Skatstad Airport on mainland Shetland. We're supporting Statkraft with obtaining planning permission, environmental impact assessment, doing marine consents, PPC license, and control of major accident hazards for the project. To date, we've provided them with developing a consent strategy that's aligned with the project stage gates, investment milestones, and to minimise upfront engineering spend. This is recommended progressing based on an outline planning permission approach to limit the amount of engineering that's needed to be done to support that application. We've undertaken kind of all the required baseline surveys to inform the environmental impact assessment, and beginning to move towards pre-application discussions with the authorities. The project is looking to submit a bid for funding under the hydrogen production business model. On the user side, SLR has been supporting a producer of asphalt with undertaking feasibility studies for several of their facilities to understand risks associated with use of hydrogen, so that mitigation measures can be considered. The work that we're doing will be fed into a business case along with a understanding of the levelized cost of hydrogen to establish whether use of hydrogen as a decarbonisation option is viable compared to alternative options. The work's providing the client with a robust evidence-based assessment that will enable them to confidently make a decision on whether to use hydrogen. If it is the best case option, we look forward to further supporting them with design, engineering, consenting as they need it. So to provide a large-scale project example, SLR is supporting Cadent and its project partners on the H2 East pipeline project, more commonly known as East Coast Hydrogen. To date, we've supported Cadent with using our in-house GIS capabilities to inform routing of the pipeline based on environmental constraints that has been informed by our technical expertise, and engineering constraints that have been advised by specialist pipeline engineers. We've also developed project phasing, land acquisition, and consultation strategies for the network. With further funding for the project for the front-end engineering design having recently been granted, SLR has now been awarded a contract to provide planning, consenting, and multidisciplinary environmental assessment services to support the FEED phase and the initial development consent order application process. And then last but not least is an example where we've led the development of a bid for a client for funding. Last year, SLR was successful in leading a bid for a sustainable aviation fuel plant, which was entered into the UK Advanced Fuel Fund. We advised on key strategic decisions and funding pathways to support the project with its AFF bid and strengthen our client's position with private investors. We look forward to continuing to support the project with its development. Now I'm going to hand you back to Sue, who's going to discuss our partnership with desalination technology provider called Waterise. Over to you, Sue.
Thanks, Greg. Next slide, please, Greg. Thank you. Yeah, so Waterise are strategic partners with SLR, and Waterise have a vision to create safe and sustainable fresh water. They've created a really innovative solution to desalination using deep sea experience from the offshore and the oil and gas sector. So basically, they've got this proven subsea technology with RO, with reverse osmosis units to provide safe drinking water. The desalination unit, and you'll see a picture of it there, actually sits on the seabed between 400 and 500 meters sea depth. And the advantage of it being at this depth is that there's the hydrostatic power, and also the water at that depth is really clean and of really good quality. Next slide, please, Greg. You'll see the unit here again. This desalination unit can provide 50,000 cubic meters of water a day, and the units are modular. So if you need more water, they can actually put more of the units down on the seabed in a modular type approach. Next slide, please, Greg. One of the benefits for the Waterise desalination technology is actually the onshore footprint. You'll see from the two diagrams here that for conventional desalination, there's quite a lot of infrastructure onshore, whereas for the Waterise solution, because the desalination unit's obviously subsea, the actual footprint that's required on land is much more minimal with less capital cost. Next slide, please, Greg. So having these desalination units at such a great depth provides further benefits. It's got a lower carbon footprint than conventional desalination technology. It's got a lower energy requirement as well. And it has less of an environmental impact because there's not a lot happening in terms of the marine ecosystem at that depth. And it also produces very low concentrated brine in terms of discharge. So if anybody wants more information about Waterise, I'm more than happy to introduce you to the Waterise team. I mean, so this technology really provides the opportunity to mitigate against water supply risks and provide additional capacity in some instances as well. Their business model is based upon a commercial framework for water supply, not capital investment. So the capital investment sits with Waterise, not with the consumer of the water. So that's a very brief overview of the Waterise technology and the opportunity. And like I say, if anybody's got any further questions about it, then, you know, pop them into the chat. I'll be more than happy to make an introduction to Waterise. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sue, and thank you very much, Greg, as well. That was a very, very interesting and insightful presentation. I would welcome anyone to leave any questions that they have in the Q&A function. I can't see any at the moment, but we'd really encourage any questions that you might have for Greg and Sue. It was great to see so many positive examples of collaboration in your presentation, both in yours, Greg, with the collaboration across the hydrogen sector, with various different projects that you're involved with across production, end use, pipelines, advanced fuels, really sort of covering that breadth. I was going to ask you first, Greg, do you see this as something that really drives momentum in the hydrogen sector, and what are you doing at SLR to encourage that sort of collaboration across the sector, because it seems like that's working really well for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you can't have a market with, you know, without an entire value chain. I think, I guess one of the learnings from the hydrogen sector's journey to date is perhaps too much focus being put on the production side, with the business models having been focused on that to date, and other aspects of the value chain, kind of funding and development lagging behind that.
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of been agnostic about, you know, which aspects we focus on and support on, and as you can see, we're focusing and supporting all aspects of the value chain.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of how we're kind of contributing and seeking to make it happen, you know, we're putting together introductions for developers with, you know, off-takers, and, you know, engaged with the likes of Hydrogen Energy Association to to shout out and kind of fly the flag for the sector, and strongly believe that it's an excellent opportunity for kind of decarbonisation and developing energy security within the UK. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think we've got a question for you, Sue, in the chat. So Nigel asks, what is your launch campaign costs for installing this type of module work? And additionally, what is the minimum water depth that works for this? How many bar of pressure?
Okay, thanks, Nigel. Unfortunately, I can't answer all of those questions, but what I can do is I can put the Waterise contact detail into the chat. The technology has to operate between 400 and 500 meters, which is great, but it also obviously presents a constraint. And certainly in the UK, the sea depth isn't quite deep enough for that type of technology. But there are, in other locations, it is suitable technology based upon sea depth. So I'll let you have the Waterise contact details, and then you can fire those questions to them directly.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And potentially, if you could both put your email addresses in as well, if you're comfortable being contacted, if people have further questions after the session that spring to mind, that would be great. Yes, just checking the Q&A. So we've got a question from Rebecca. It would be really interesting to hear about the impacts of the Waterise unit to the surrounding marine environment. Is there any heating of the surrounding water? What are the changes in water output, such as pH, salinity, etc.? Have there been any issues with organisms colliding or being taken into the intake pipe, for example?
Gosh, okay, that's a really detailed question. Again, I'm going to have to connect you to the Waterise team. They have done some environmental impact surveys in terms of the impact on the marine ecosystems. They were done off the coast of the US. I think it was off the coast of California. So I can again put you in touch with them, and then you can get a better understanding of where they've had issues or not.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful. Got a question for you, Greg, from Waniana. She asks, I'm leading GreenLink, an EU-Africa corridor integrating CRMs, REEs, supply chains with a geothermal powered processing hub in Kenya, as well as a scalable green hydrogen export platform. Given SLR's strength in delivering sustainability from strategy through execution, I'd value your view on where you could support early stage feasibility and ESG structuring.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. We've got a very extensive experience within our African region supporting hydrogen projects. So what I can do, Mariana, is put you in touch with colleagues in the African region who will be able to help. We'll be delighted to learn more about GreenLink.
Great, thank you. Seems like it's going to be lots of really useful follow-up conversations from this. We've got another question from Simon, who asks, what are the additional costs of running desalination against freshwater? Using saltwater electrolysis is an area being researched.
Okay, I've popped the Waterise contacts in the chat. So Simon, if you want to, was it Simon who raised that question?
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to drop Antoine an email, he'll be able to answer that question for you. Apologies, Antoine couldn't join us on the webinar today.
No worries.
I mean, one of the advantages of, well, see, desalination is probably more expensive, generally speaking, than having a freshwater supply. But in areas where you're constrained and there isn't that freshwater supply availability, then desalination is the answer, really.
Yeah. A comment and a question from Niall in response to your comment about the strong production on strong focus on production infrastructure. So he agrees with that and asks, as projects move towards delivery, do you see workforce readiness across supply chains becoming a constraint? and how is that being addressed today?
Yes, well, yeah, supply chain readiness is going to be a challenge for the sector. Having, I guess, better appreciation for when certain things are going to happen within the sector will provide that visibility and enable preparedness. I hate to kind of echo what we're probably hearing lots since late last year, but it really do need to have an update on the hydrogen strategy and understand where the I guess an update on the roadmap to understand when supply chain needs to be ready to serve these projects, and then support the supply chain with building that capacity and training individuals to meet it.
Yeah. And just to add a comment on that, so recently Great British Energy published a consultation in the form of a questionnaire on their supply chain investment fund. So HEA submitted a response to that. We had some member engagement on that one, and I can put the link to that in the chat if you'd like to read that. I think it was Niall that asked that question. I think we have time for one more question, which may also be one to direct towards the Waterise team. It's relating to the carbon dioxide concentration in the product water, and also how to maintain a subsea membrane from Clive.
Yeah, I've dropped the Waterise website into the chat. There's some videos on there. They've got a pilot plant that operates, that they take out and use as a demonstration. So there's some videos on the Waterise website that show that pilot plant in operation.
Brilliant. That'd be really good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you very much, Greg and Sue, for your presentations. There's been a lot of engagement in the Q&A, so that is illustrative of a very engaging presentation. So thank you very much. If anyone has any further questions, you can follow up with the contacts that have been put in the chat. Thank you for joining this Hydrogen Byte session today, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Bye.